Well, we have seen relentless rain over many areas of the country in the past few days. Flash floods, even in areas that don't usually experience a lot of summer rainfall. Gauteng, of course, is grappling with collapsed bridges, downed power lines and flooded roads. But there's also news from the Eastern Cape of rain starting there now, and the Western Cape, where a number of municipalities are in real distress. I'm joined now by Dr Imtiaz Sooliman, the founder and director of the humanitarian organisation Gift of the Givers. Dr Sooliman, thank you so much for joining us. So you've been focusing on a lot of Western Cape municipalities. Talk to me about which municipalities are actually in distress at the moment.
Good evening, Sally. The distress is right now in the Duans area. There's been a lot of houses washed away there. First of all, over 52 houses have been washed away. Over hundreds of houses have been damaged, and other hundreds of houses have been soiled with water in the homes. Fortunately, there's no loss of life, but the bridges, the roads have been damaged, the water plants have been washed away. Right now, there's no drinking water anywhere in the whole of the Duans. Next to them, of course, Worcester have some areas in assistance, a place called Gouda, Ceres, Paarl, areas in Paarl, and all these areas require some kind of assistance. But the biggest focus right now has been on the Duans because the crisis has been the major in that area.
So talk to me about the municipalities, because every municipality has got a disaster plan and they have got emergency vehicles. Are they just simply overwhelmed, or are we looking at municipalities that just don't have the capacity or don't have a plan?
I won't say they don't have a plan. You know, they've got good people, and the fact is, the fact that they call us immediately a disaster happens. You know, they're very concerned about the people, and in most cases, the mayor calls us, or the deputy mayor, or somebody from disaster management, or from the fire station, or the police, or the community leader. Somebody calls us all the time. And when you get to the area, you see the unfortunate situation. They may have personnel. In some cases, they don't have not that many personnel. They don't have vehicles. They don't have support. And in every area, they tell you up front, whether it's national, provincial, or local, we don't have funds. Mm-hmm. And that's a common situation recently in all the disasters we've been responding. And it's tragic because people are dependent on government to do something. Yes, the individual people from government do come. The personnel try to make things happen, but there's not enough fire trucks, not enough vehicles, not enough resources. So the personnel are also left stranded, wanting to do something, but paralyzed, not being able to do anything. That's the first part. And immediately, while the disaster is happening, they don't have funding for, they can open a hall. That's about the only thing they can do. But they don't have the funding for blankets, mattresses, food, water, sanitary pads, hygiene packs. And this is not something that's happening for the first time in our country. There's an ongoing problem, and there is no plan to deal with it.
You are used to dealing with disasters, not only here in South Africa, but across the world. If you look at what's been happening with the rains recently, is this unprecedented for you?
Yes, in South Africa, not across the world. In South Africa, it's unprecedented, and it came from the first floods of 2019, the Cyclone Idai, which affected, in terms of Africa, Mozambique, Malawi, and Zimbabwe at the same time, and it was catastrophic. And at that same period of time, we had major floods in Durban, but nothing compared to what happened to us in April this year. That cyclonic type of weather, where the rainwater rises in areas 48 meters in 45 minutes, is frightening. And something similar happened in the Duans Monday night. One of the refugee victims was saying that they had just had the cloud burst, or the sound of thunder, dark clouds, and 3 minutes later the rain came, and a minute or two later she was already waist high in water. It's the speed with which the water comes, you know, and that's very frightening. And if you've got houses that are not well built, they get washed away with you inside. Fortunately, everybody managed to get to higher ground. But to answer your question, the weather pattern has been getting worse. And to me, I keep going back. I've been noticing this from the time of the tsunami, 26 December 2004. When the sea was very unhappy in Durban, you know, along Jeffreys Bay and in Cape Town. And from that year onwards, the weather patterns have just never been the same again.
That's so interesting. I actually remember being on holiday in that December in Plettenberg Bay and just seeing the sea and the debris. It was truly astonishing. It feels in Johannesburg like we've suddenly developed a monsoon season. The rain is just fairly relentless. There are real concerns this coming weekend for parts of KwaZulu-Natal. We're hearing that emergency services are telling us in Johannesburg Friday we've got to be very, very careful. What are you hearing about the next few days and the areas that are very worrying?
Well, Sally, it's something we don't worry about too much because early warning systems don't work. People don't move out of their homes. They don't go away. To me, the only solution is to be ready for when something happens. And that readiness requires a system that's well-oiled, that's systematic, that has the capacity, that has helicopters, functioning vehicles, functioning personnel, boats, divers in terms of water, firefighters in terms of fire, enough personnel, paramedics on standby, available resources also to be open in areas that you think it's going to happen or where you follow the weather patterns like we follow the weather patterns for the KZN floods of 2022. We were ready to get into the different areas. But even with that readiness, the trees fall across the road gets washed away, the bridges fall off, rain is heavy, the helicopter can't fly. It's about people themselves taking responsibility of themselves. And that's exactly what happened in the 2022 floods in KZN, where neighbors, friends, people were vigilant, community workers, ordinary people helped each other, took them out of houses where the water levels were rising. Old people were floating in the water, and they took them out. So on the one hand, yes, we have to have an emergency service and a coordinated one at that. And there needs to be coordination between national, provincial, and local. I mean, you can't expect a small municipality that got minimal resources with so many unemployed people to be able to do something on their own. You have to have provincial government within hours to step in. It's a disaster. It's not some slow-growing thing that's happening over 15 years. It's something that happens in minutes. You're responsible for in minutes. And if province can't manage, national should manage. But that system doesn't work in South Africa.
Yep. Thank you so much, and good to hear that you've been able to assist the people of Dodoens, and you stand ready to assist if more rains come to various parts. Very much appreciate your time chatting to us this evening, Dr Imtiaz Sooliman, the founder and director of the humanitarian organisation Gift of the Givers.